heart rate monitoring, GPS, and a battery that lasts up to 45 days on a watch that costs just £60. Too good to be true? Hey, Nish from To The Point Tech here, and I was in the market for a cheap, no-frills kind of fitness watch, and I came across the Amazfit Bip. Now, Amazfit kind of come under Xiaomi, so you've kind of got a big company behind this product. You can pick one of these up for about 50 to 60 pounds on Amazon. I recommend the warehouse deals in particular. What I'm going to do is tell you about this watch and what it can do, talk about my experiences using it, and then wrap it up by talking about the competition out there. So the box it covers in is one of these impossible to open teeny little boxes. And basically all you've got included in there is the watch itself and a kind of proprietary charger that the watch can slot into. The watch itself, the face of it measures 35 by 40 mil, which is actually definitely on the smaller side of watches. Very good if you have tiny wrists like I do, but if you're a big person, maybe it will look a bit kind of like a kid's watch. The screen on here is 1.28 inch, and you can see the bezels are kind of on the bigger side. It is covered though with a nice curved Gorilla Glass, and I found that to be pretty scratch resistant apart from when I bash my wrist into things. I've got a couple but they are hard to see on here. The resolution is only 176 squared, but I find that's plenty. You know, I'm not planning to watch any films on here. They don't list what screen tech it is, but I found it to be very visible both indoors and out. The included strap is made of silicone and it's pretty good. It has a lot of size options, so it will fit pretty much anyone. It is a standard 20mm strap, so you can remove that and put whatever strap you want on there. I got this nylon one, which is quite nice. And since it's an electronic watch, it's quite cool. There's a lot of different watch faces available. I've settled on this Casio-esque one because I was feeling nostalgic, but you know, you can switch it up for whatever you like. The last thing to say specs-wise is that this is IP68 rated, which means it's dust-proof and waterproof up to 1.5 meters deep for 30 minutes. The screen on here is always on, and you can kind of activate it by either pressing the single button on the side or by flicking your wrist. That's kind of a nice feature they've added in. So as you can see, once I've activated it, the screen lights up, and then I can swipe left and right to access the different apps. Status just tells you, your current steps, your current heart rate and distance you've covered. If you want to record an activity using the GPS, you need to go to the activity. In terms of the activities available, you've not got many. You've only got outdoor running, treadmill, cycling, and walking. So this is very limited. You're missing things like swimming. When you're recording an activity using one of these activity modes, it will obviously use the GPS and it will use the heart rate sensor to kind of really accurately monitor what that's doing during the exercise. Speaking of the heart rate sensor, you can use that to kind of periodically monitor yourself throughout the day. And basically what happens is if it detects that you're moving a lot, it will up the sampling rate of that to get a more accurate reading of, how many calories you're burning, for example. Also included are a couple kind of standard fitness tracker features. There's a step counter and a step goal, and I find that's kind of motivating to get out the house sometimes. There's also a kind of idle alert. If you've been sitting around for an hour, it will kind of buzz at you to get you to get up and move around. Also included are a couple little apps. There's a little weather thing, a compass, and a kind of a stopwatch. I find these a little bit cumbersome to use due to the number of swipes needed, but it's a nice little feature. So the watch syncs to your phone using Bluetooth, and on your phone you use an app. You could either use Xiaomi's Mi Fit app or the Amazfit app, which I prefer. On there you can kind of change all the settings on the watch and kind of look at the detailed information about what it's been tracking. With that Bluetooth connection, what it can do is send you notifications from apps, so it works with things like WhatsApp and Messenger. Strangely enough, I can't seem to get texts to show up on here, but it does work well for phone calls, and I'd say that's the main reason I want to have this with notifications. I don't want to see my WhatsApp messages instantly, but I don't want to miss a phone call all the time. So how are those tracking features? Well, I find the step counting to be reasonably accurate. The same for the heart rate monitoring. I can't compare it to a more accurate piece of kit, but it does seem pretty accurate when I've tried to count, for 15 seconds my pulse and see if it matches what's showing on the screen. Finally, there's the sleep tracking. Now, I have no idea about the accuracy of the deep sleep time, but in terms of the timings of when it thinks I went to bed and got up, it seems to be pretty accurate. Let's move on to talking about that battery life. As you can expect, that 45-day estimate that Amazfit give you relies on you turning a lot of stuff on, and there's quite a few things that affect the battery life. So firstly, there's that baseline heart rate detection I talked about before. So you can have this kind of monitor you periodically throughout the day at intervals of 1, 5, 10, or 30 minutes. You can reduce that frequency or just turn it off to save a bit of battery. There's also a sleep assistant, which apparently improves the quality of your sleep data. Again, you can disable that to get some more battery life. The biggest thing that's going to affect battery life is the amount of activities you record. You're using that GPS sensor, which is very battery intensive, as well as the heart rate sensor kind of on full frequency. My usage of this thing is about 3 recorded activities in a week. I've got Sleep Assistant on, I've got the baseline detection at 30 minutes, and I say I get about 7 to 10 days of battery life on this thing, which I'm pretty damn happy with. Battery life is the thing I think Amazfit have done really well on this watch, and I think that's because of the screen being low resolution and whatever technology they've used is just generally not very battery intensive, which is great. When I look to other competitors, for example, the Garmin Vivo Sport and the Huawei Band 4 Pro, both of those look like they have lovely AMOLED screens, but they both quote 7 days and 5 days battery life, respectively. And given that my experience with manufacturers' battery ratings is to reduce it a lot, they are just not going to last as long as this thing does if you're going to record activities and that kind of thing. Amazfit also have other models on the market. Firstly, there's the Bip Lite, which is about £10 to £15 cheaper than the Bip, but it's missing GPS. The more interesting option is the Bip S, which came out about 3 weeks after I bought this. I didn't even know it was going to come out. A little bit annoyed about it, to be honest, still. Now that costs about £10 to £15 more than the Bip, but they've done quite a lot to improve it. They've improved the heart rate sensor, they've upped the battery size by about 5%, but the biggest thing is that they've improved the waterproof rating and also added activities like swimming to the mix, whereas the Bip is missing those. So I think the Bip S is actually really good value compared to the Bip. Right, let's wrap up this review. So I think the Bip is a really great budget fitness tracker. I like the nose frills approach they have, and I like that they've gone with a nice simple screen that allows it to have a really good battery life. Being a budget device, there are a few compromises you should be aware of. Firstly, it doesn't have tracking for things like swimming, and that's because the waterproof rating maybe isn't high enough, or they just didn't want to include it for some reason. The other thing is that in terms of the connectivity with your phone, it is quite basic. It's just going to be able to show you notifications. You're not going to have Spotify or anything on here. So should you buy the Amazfit Bip? Well, I think if you can get it around £50, I think that's a really good value option. But once you're getting to around £60, you may as well look at the Amazfit Bip S. Okay, so I hope this review has been useful. Do let me know in the comments if you've tried any other cheap fitness trackers and you think I should maybe take a look at them. But otherwise, give this video a like, subscribe to stay tuned for more To The Point reviews, and I'll catch you in the next one.